G'day guys and welcome back to AdosTheGreat YouTube channel. So guys, in today's video, I'll be giving you my 2025 AFL Ladder prediction. I'm very excited for this one, guys. I love this time of year, doing the predictions and getting 99% of them wrong. Love that. But yeah, I thought I'd throw my 2 cents in. I'll roughly spend a little bit of time on each team, but realistically, it's going to be a pretty quick video. So if you are new here, guys, please do hit that like button and subscribe. I am trying to hit 10,000 subs by mid-2025. And look, we should get there earlier, but I can't do that without your help and support. So if you could use just 2 seconds of your time to hit that sub button. I also do AFL tipping content every single week of the AFL season. So there is plenty of footy content for you guys on here. But without further ado, let's jump into the AFL ladder prediction and finals prediction, starting with the team I think that will finish 18th. Righto, so the team that I see finishing 18th is the Richmond Tigers. I don't think that is a shock to many. I think a lot of people will have Richmond finishing pretty close to the wooden spoon, if not getting the spoon. I don't really see this team winning too many games in 2025. Losing players like Liam Baker, Shea Bolton, you got Noah Cumberland, who was actually delisted, but Jack Graham, another big loss, Dustin Martin, Marlon Pickett, Sam Naismith, Daniel Rioli. There is so many players, so many experienced players that this team has lost outside of Noah Cumberland. I don't know why I said his name, but I just had it written down and I said it. But they are gaining so many young players. They got picks 1, 12 and 14, so 3 and 7. So 3 pretty high picks in the draft. Sam Layla obviously going number 1. So, you know, they're building for the future. You got to respect them for that. But, yeah, I don't think they will finish too much higher than the wooden spoon, unfortunately. In 17th, I have my team, the West Coast Eagles. I do think that West Coast could prove a lot of people wrong, including me, hopefully. But, look, they have lost a lot of talent, like Richmond. Tom Barrass, incredible player. He has gone to Hawthorn. Jack Darling heading over to North Melbourne. Obviously, Andrew Gaff retired. You've also got, I personally, I don't agree with a lot of our delistings. Jermaine Jones, I would have liked to keep. I would have liked to keep Witherden as well. I actually don't mind Witherden there, but a lot of experienced players have been removed from the club. We do, however, bring in Bo Allen, who is an incredible draft pick in my opinion. We've also got experienced players like Liam Baker, Jack Graham, and Matt Owies coming from Carlton there as well. So, and a few other draft picks with young talent coming through. Now, I do think that we can improve, but unfortunately, when I did do the ladder predictor, shout out to Squiggle, I did have us finishing 17th as well. So I do hope that I am wrong with that prediction, and I do hope West Coast can make their way up the ladder. But I just don't know how they beat a lot of the teams ahead of them, unfortunately. All right, in 16th, this one could be a little bit controversial, but I am going St Kilda. I know every year it seems a lot of people, including myself, put them pretty low, and they do tend to prove us wrong. But I've got to do it again. I think they have drafted quite well. They've got a lot of young players coming through via the draft. I do think Jack McRae is a great pickup for them. But outside of that, like I just don't see them doing that well. I don't. And I could be wrong, and I probably will have egg all over my face, but I've got to put the St Kilda Saints in 16th. All right, in 15th, again, a bit like St Kilda, could be controversial. I don't know. I'm going Essendon. Losing players like Dyson Heppel to retirement. Jake Stringer obviously going to GWS there. They really haven't brought in any experienced players to replace those guys. They've got a lot of players coming through the draft. but I think they will struggle in 2025, and I think Essendon do unfortunately finish in 15th. All right, in 14th, I'm going North Melbourne. I think the Kangaroos are going to have a massively improved season. I do think they could go on a little bit of a Hawthorn style run in 2025. I'm talking the same way Hawthorn did in 2024. I don't think it'll be as good, but I genuinely do think that North Melbourne could contend for a finals berth in 2025. I know that's crazy to say, and I should just back my gut and put them a little bit higher. I just can't. I don't know why I can't. I just can't. I do think that they have had one of, if not the best, off seasons in terms of recruitment, bringing in Caleb Daniel from the Bulldogs, Jack Darling from West Coast. They pick Finn O'Sullivan in the number 2 draft pick there. Luke Parker coming from the Swans. Like, they have done so well with player movement, in my opinion. And I do think that this club is going to see a flip this year, and they will start to move up the ladder. So I've got them at 14th, but I do think they have the potential to finish higher. All right, at the 13th spot, I'm going the Adelaide Crows. This is another team that I do think could contend with finals. I think there's a lot of teams this year outside of probably the bottom 4 that I've named that could genuinely be finals contenders. But for me, Adelaide, I do think they will struggle once again. They have done pretty well with recruitment this year, bringing in Isaac Cumming, Alex Neil-Bullen, James Peatling, and then obviously drafting Sid Draper at number 4. I think they do have a lot of potential. I don't know about Adelaide. I have them in my top 8. You know, I think last season, and they obviously didn't really pose a threat, to be honest. Their losses, obviously Rory Sloane's a big one. Himmelberg to the Suns is also a pretty big loss there, obviously through free agency. But outside of that, I think their gains far outweigh their losses. And look, I do think this is another team that could have put egg all over my face, because I do think they've got the potential. But we've just got to see it. I can't put them back in the top 8. I predicted them there before, and they've proved me wrong. So I do have them missing the top 8. I've actually got them in 13th. So, yeah. Speaking of teams that I always predict to finish higher than they do, it's the Gold Coast Suns in number 12. Look, again, they've got a lot of young talent coming through. They've obviously picked up players like John Noble from Collingwood, Daniel Rioli from Richmond there, and obviously, as I stated before, Himmelberg from Adelaide. They've lost a lot of good talent, though. Rory Atkins will be going to Port Adelaide. Levi Casbolt obviously retiring. Lukosius going to Port Adelaide. A lot of players that are leaving the team. But look, I think they again, like Adelaide, they've got potential to make the top 8. I just can't see it happening. I like Adelaide, I always predict them to finish higher, and they never bloody do. So I've got the Gold Coast Suns finishing at number 12. All right, in number 11, this is probably the lowest I have ranked this team for a while, and that is the Melbourne Demons. Now, obviously, they do bring a wealth of talent through the draft. Their biggest pickup, obviously, Harvey Langford, the number 6 draft pick. They also bring in Tom Campbell through free agency. Harry Sharp from the Brisbane Lions, I think, could be such an underrated pickup. But I tell you what, man, losing Angus Brayshaw and Ben Brown via retirement, I think that is going to hurt them a lot. I do think that this team will struggle in 2025, and I do have them finishing 11th. Ouch. All right, this is getting a lot harder to predict now. I generally believe every team I've got from number 10 all the way up to number 1 could pose an argument as to why they could win the flag. Unfortunately, not every team can make the top 8, and this team, I can't see them getting there. Port Adelaide, I've got in the number 10 spot. Again, you could make an argument to me that they should be flag contenders, and I'd be like, yeah, look, maybe. But I think that there are at least 8 teams better than them on the ladder. Port Adelaide are in 10th for me. Bringing in Rory Atkins from Gold Coast, pretty good pickup there. Jack Lukosius from Gold Coast as well. And a couple of good, decent pickups, a few good draft picks there as well. Losing Charlie Dixon is a massive loss. Dan Houston getting traded to Collingwood, pretty big loss as well. But outside of that, I think they've had an okay player movement sort of season, the Port Adelaide Power. But yeah, I think both Adelaide sides will miss the top 8 in 2025, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate from that, but it is what it is. You got to predict 1 through to 18, and that's what I'm doing. All right, in the number 9 spot, just missing out on the top 8, is the Western Bulldogs. I can see them finishing a lot lower than this, to be honest. They have lost a lot of talent. Obviously, Caleb Daniel going to North Melbourne, Jack McRae going to St Kilda. They're losing Bailey Smith to Geelong. There is so much talent going out of that club. Matt Kennedy is coming in from the Carlton Blues, but outside of that, it's really only the later draft picks. I do think that this team could fall a lot further down than 9th. I have got them at 9th for now. Obviously, I'm not redoing this. This is my only ladder prediction, but I'm putting this out on record now. I could see them fall even lower than 9th. Putting them at 9th, but I could see them fall lower. Unfortunately, I don't see a world where the Bulldogs make the top 8. Righto, the first team I've got in the top 8. So in 8th spot, I'm going the Fremantle Dockers. I generally believe this team could be higher than this as well. Shea Bolton is an incredible pickup for them also. They haven't really lost any big name players. I generally believe that Fremantle, they will be a tough team to beat in 2025. I do think that there are 7 teams that are better than them, but I definitely think they're a top 8 side in 2025. All right, in the number 7 spot, I think a lot of you guys will disagree with me because they were quite a bit higher last year. I'm going the Sydney Swans. I know that is a bold pick there, but I think they've lost some pretty talented players like Luke Parker. They've obviously had Sam Reid retire as well. Haven't really picked up any big name talent at all. It's mainly just been draft picks and players in the rookie draft. I think we will see Sydney struggle a little bit more in 2025. I don't think they will be a top 4 side. I don't think they will be a force like they were in 2024. I think they will struggle a little bit in 2025. All right, in the number 6 spot on the ladder is the Collingwood Magpies. I do think that this team could definitely finish higher as well. Bringing in Dan Houston is a massive pickup. I also think Tim Membry is such an underrated free agency pickup as well. They also bring in Harry Perryman through free agency, also with a few other little draft pick players sprinkled through there. John Noble will be a pretty disappointing loss, but outside of that, I think they've really recruited quite well for 2025, and I think Collingwood will be a force in 2025. All right, in the number 5 spot, the GWS Giants. I think GWS will be strong again in 2025. Bringing in Jake Stringer is such a good pickup for them. They also bring in a lot of young players through the draft. I think they will be a good team in 2025. Harry Perryman is a decent loss. So are players like Isaac Cumming and like James Peatling, but outside of that, they don't lose too much experience. I think Jake Stringer brings a wealth of experience to this club. I think he's a well-needed player for this club. And I think GWS will be a force once again in 2025. All right, in the number 4 spot, the first team I've got in the top 4 are the Carlton Blues. Their off-season in terms of picking up players, it wasn't good, it wasn't bad. Obviously bring in Nick Haynes from GWS through free agency. Jagger Smith was taken number 3 pick. They do lose a few experienced players like Matt Kennedy. Matt Owies going to the West Coast Eagles, obviously. But outside of that, I think their recruitment was fine. Wasn't too bad. A lot of young players coming through the draft and all that. They did have a lot of injury concerns in 2024 with a lot of those players returning healthy in 2025. I do think that they should be a top 4 side, and I think we can pretty much lock them in to the top 4. Righto. Number 3, the third spot on the ladder, I've got going to the Brisbane Lions. Premiers in 2024. I think they'll be there and thereabouts in 2025, back up in that top 4. Obviously, losing players like Joe Danaher, Jared Lyons, players like that, that is a lot of experience that they are losing there. They also lose Harry Sharp, as we spoke about before, and while that might not seem like a massive loss, I do think he is a very good talent. They also pick up Levi Ashcroft through the father-son pick there at pick 5. They get a few other draft picks there, and they also bring in Sam Day, who I think is a great acquisition through the preseason draft. I think the Lions, they will be looking to continue winning premierships over the next few years, and I don't think they're going to drop off too much in 2025. I do think there are 2 teams that fall above them in 2025, or jump above them, I should say. But for me, I think the Brisbane Lions finish 3rd in 2025. All right, at number 2, I've got the Geelong Cats. I think the Cats will finish 2nd in 2025. Now, I know there's a lot of memes about them being an aging squad and whatnot, but, bringing in a young gun like Bailey Smith, he's not that young, but you know what I mean. He's going to be there for a few years yet. They also bring in a wealth of youth through the draft and the rookie draft as well. They lose Tom Hawkins, which is going to hurt them a little bit with experience. I was a bit shocked with the Gary Rowan delisting, but look, it is what it is. I think Geelong will be there and be pushing for a premiership in 2025. All right, and if you can't guess who I've got in the number 1 spot, then I'll tell you what, you'd struggle to win a trivia night at your local pub. I've got the Hawthorn Hawks finishing 1st in 2025. They have had a really good off-season in recruitment, picking up Josh Battle through free agency. I think that is a massively underrated pickup. Tom Barrass is going to be huge for them, coming from my West Coast Eagles. That breaks my heart to say. But yeah, look, they also don't lose too much experience. Chad Wingard retiring does lose a little bit of experience for them. But at the end of the day, they are going to be such a force in 2025. I believe that wholeheartedly. Hawthorn are back. Who would have thought you'd see a ladder prediction with Hawthorn at number 1 and Geelong at number 2 in 2025? I think that is crazy stuff. All right, guys, I will see you and we'll do a recap of my ladder predictions. Let's get into it. Righto, guys, so here is my ladder predictions for 2025. Once we get through these, I'll jump over to Squiggle and I'll give you my predictions for the final series. So, in the top 4, Hawthorn finishing 1st with Geelong in 2nd, Brisbane Lions in 3rd, and Carlton in 4th. From 5 to 8, I've got the Giants finishing 5th, Collingwood in 6th, Sydney Swans in 7th, and the Fremantle Dockers in 8th. Outside of that top 8, from 9 through to 13, we've got the Western Bulldogs, the Port Adelaide Power, Melbourne Demons, Gold Coast Suns, and the Adelaide Crows. From 14th to 18th, the bottom 5 sees North Melbourne, Essendon, St Kilda, West Coast, and Richmond. Guys, let me know down below in the comments what I have missed the mark on and what I've hit the nail on the head. Also, guys, drop down below who you're predicting to finish 1st through to 18th. Give me your ladder predictions below. But the video is not done yet, so don't click off yet, but do click that subscribe button. I'll remind you again. And now we're going to jump over to Squiggle, and I'm going to give you my finals predictions for 2025. Righto, let's go through it now, guys. We have got our top 8 set out. I've only just quickly done this on Squiggle again because obviously I did do the ladder predictor quite a while ago. I've put everything together now, but we've redone this. So this is your top 8 here. Obviously, you've got quarterfinal 1, or qualifying final 1, I should say. Hawthorn against the Blues. GWS against the Fremantle Dockers in the first elimination final. The second elimination final, Collingwood take on the Swans, and then the Cats take on the Lions. Ooh, Battle of the Cats. How good. All right, so the first game, Hawthorn against Carlton. I do think the Hawks win this and move on to a preliminary final. We've got the Giants against Fremantle. I think Freo, they're going to have a pretty good run in 2025, but I do think it comes to the end in the first week of finals. I've got the Giants winning that one. You got the Battle of the Birds here too. The Magpies against the Swans. Look, I think Sydney, I do think they're going to struggle a bit this year, and I think Collingwood are going to have a better year than they did in 2024. So I am going to back in the Collingwood Magpies here. The Cats against the Lions. Mouth-watering game of footy. This one, I think it'll go right down to the wire, but I do think the Lions, and they're going to want to go back-to-back. They're going to be playing to go back-to-back, and I think they do knock off the Cats in the qualifying finals. So the semi-finals see Carlton against the Giants and the Cats against the Magpies. In semi-final number 1, I'm going to go with the team that is probably not going to be favourite to win that one. I'm backing in the Giants here. I do think the Giants beat Carlton in that one, and I am backing them in to make a preliminary final. In the second semi-final, we've got the Cats against the Magpies. I'm going to say the Cats win that one. I do think the Cats will be there and thereabouts in the preliminary finals here. I think they've really recruited quite well. They've got a very good team in 2025. I think they will be strong. You've got Hawthorn against Geelong. Classic rivalry there from, I'd say, the 2010 sort of era, early 2010s to late 2000s. Very, very good rivalry here. I do think the Hawks move on to a grand final, though. That is my prediction there. Hawthorn will be the first team into the grand final. And then the second team, I am going to back in the Lions to make their third grand final in a row, I believe. I'm pretty sure. Am I right there? I'm pretty sure I'm right. I'm pretty sure 2023 the Lions made it but lost. And then they obviously won it last year quite convincingly. So I am backing a Hawthorn versus Lions grand final. First versus third should be a cracking game of football in my opinion. But I am going to say the Lions do go back-to-back. I am backing the Lions to go back-to-back in 2025. But I do think Hawthorn will definitely put up a better fight than the 2024 runners-up did. So that is my prediction. The Brisbane Lions win it all in 2025 and go back-to-back. Let me know your predictions down below in the comments, guys. Once again, hit that like button and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.